Hello everyone, my name is Notepad and I write games for fun. What are we working on today? Well, today we're going to be working on Project Tactics Flagbearer, the Redux project, and trying to make that a little bit better. And looking through here, I would also like to thank Bia the Alea. Yeah, that one. I know who you are, and you probably know who you are. Thank you for following. We are up to 91 followers. We've officially hit a point where we were within 100. We were within the line. We're getting there. When we hit 100 followers, nothing's going to occur. I hate to break it to you, just nothing's going to happen. I'm not that exciting. So, yes, this is Project Tactics Flagbearer. Today we're going to be going over it, and we're going to be seeing what we can fix. This is going to be kind of a more relaxed stream, because it's not really going to be that all that intense, but it doesn't really need to be intense. Not really the point. This is mostly a game of fixing little things, of patching up wording, of making things better. So, if anyone ever has any questions or any comments, feel free to ask. I'll answer literally anything at this point, because it's going to be not terribly interesting. The only other news I should kind of bring up is this isn't replacing Guy or anything. Remember that. This is just actually not even a side project. This is the main project. Guy is just a commission project. I'm doing both of them at once. Because I normally don't stream on Thursdays. So, let's get down to business. So, let's do our new preface. So we want to do flag bearers. Let's do flag bearer. Actually, you know what we can do? So, I've been keeping debating on whether or not I actually even want to change the name. I really don't know. Part of me likes keeping it just as Project Tactics. It's It's Project Tactics. That's what it is. Let's see. Personal Warband soldiers, hopeful to save the world, get rich or die trying. Its main goal is to facilitate a type of game that often is underrepresented in the field of TTRPGs, that being a warband size, in the vein of Final Fantasy Tactics, Tactics Ogre, and other such games that focus on larger groups of individuals. Personal inspiration came directly from Tactics Ogre March of the Black Queen, where the party is a paramount and important part of the experience. And that party is one of many. Fighting against the titular Black Queen. If I can actually spell correctly. Titular. God, that's such a weird word. Titular is one of those weird words where it makes complete sense what it stands for, but it's never going to be easy to say. The document presented is a combination of my personal work on the world of project. In the world, I won't dedicate an entire set in the world or anything like that. I want the game itself to be fairly setting neutral. Oh no, notepad in the past, you silly goose. So let's actually the document presented is the quote second edition of Project Tactics, but a 1.5e may be more appropriate. Should I put in a base setting? Oh, we're dying a little bit. I love it when it says unstable. It's great. Thing is, I don't know what's causing it to be unstable either. That's the best part. Let's double check everything. What does it mean by unstable? Does it mean the connection's dying? What? Or is it you just saying it to scare the shit out of me? I think it's literally just saying that to scare the shit out of me. Cool, awesome. I love Twitch. Twitch is flawless. Document presented. The second edition of Project Tactics, but a 1.5e may be more appropriate. The game maintains its distinctly setting agnostic point of view, volatile, but the process has included, but the update, it will be including some wording changes and some additional parts not present in the original game, including wording changes, additional options, and some tweaks to existing systems. Flagbearer is, as the name suggests, a foolish and brave individual tasked with hoisting up the ideal, but is usually the first to tragically die. But yeah, no, like that's really what this game is. It's kind of a proof of concept. And that's one of the main things I always said about it, is that Project Tactics is, by its nature, does it work more than any other kind of game? Does it function? Does it actually do what I want it to do? And the answer is arguably, yeah. I've always felt good about Project Tactics. That's one of the weird things. Like, out of all the games I've done, like, Project Tactics has always been the one that I'm like, yeah, I'm okay with this. Like, that's why I haven't really tried to update it before, just because I'm like, I don't really need to. There's nothing really to update. Let's see, Flagbearer. Played with full set of dice, d6, d10 being most common, 3 to 5 players, a game master, and some spare time. Do we want to? I think we're. Actually, I should say game master and some spare time. Whenever a character attempts whenever a captain or whenever a player, actually, whenever a captain or squad attempts an action with chance of failure in opposition to whenever attempts in opposition to another character, with a chance of failure, they must perform a check. The captain rolls 1d10 plus attribute plus modifier and attempt to reach the target number for a simple check set by the narrator by the game master. Or both parties roll 1d10 plus attribute plus modifier against one another to compare the results for an opposed check. In case of a tie for an OC, the defender is assumed to have won. Let's see. If the character's combined rolls equal to higher than a team and successful and clear the situation. If they roll less than the team, they fail to suffer the consequences. Certain tactics and abilities will allow the character to augment their rolls and change the nature of their die. I am going to put in if a captain rolls a 10 on their d10, the dice explode. The dice, quote, explodes, having them roll it again and add the result. This can only occur once. Why? Because I think that's appropriate. Because I want captains to feel powerful. That's like one of the main goals. Captain, certain tax. Like, that is like the chief goal. I want the captains to feel really powerful and really strong. The problem with the captain is always going to be fundamentally they're fighting a war of attrition. They themselves are incredibly strong and fight the good fight. The issue is they constantly need to, you're trying to succeed at these things that aren't necessarily you can brute force them. We need to hold the pass. If all my guys are dead and I'm halfway dead, we're not holding the pass, obviously. Actually, rolls a 10 on their d10 for a check. I should say for a check, the dice explodes. Actually, it'd be having them roll it again and add the result. This can be only occur once. Okay, so cleaning. Cool, choo choo. Actually, the players will take the role of a captain. We'll take the role of a captain in their company of soldiers, in their company of troops, company of troops. A captain stands head and shoulders above the masses in prestige, importance, and skill. And skill being incredibly strong by themselves in a straight fight. Battle, but their real strength is that they bring out the power of their soldiers under them, making even the lowliest of peasants into a fighting force. Under the captains, these brave fighters seek out glory and adventure, following them to the depths and hell and back. Player characters will be referred to as captains, while individual soldiers inside of their squad their characters will be referred to as captains. Their individual soldiers under them are all called troops, and the combination of both of them creates a squad. Yeah. Would be being a the depths of hell and back to the gates of hell, to much to heaven. Primo Victoria. Okay, so. Oh, yeah. Get the sniffles. There we go. Snap my back into place. So, captains. So we'll do a captain. Actually, a character's attributes reflect how physically and mentally skilled. Let's see. Characters' attributes reflect how physically and mentally skilled they are. In the field. Captains are So actually, we want to do the 5 key attribute, and the 5 key capitalized attributes. Attributes are attunement. What would be a good one for dexterity? Because I want the idea of dexterity is kind of your ability. It's almost like your coordination. It's how fast you're moving. Would that be a good one? Coordination would work. Because you could use the idea of, like, I'm coordinated. That sounds really weird, coordination. Oh. Is there a good synonym for that? Coordination. I guess coordination would work. It's really weird though. Coordination. Something doesn't sound right. Actually, yeah. Let's consult the inner consortium. Again, I have these people here for a reason. Let's go to question time. At here, replacing dexterity with coordination. Coordination to reflect the ability to maneuver as well as use ranged equipment. Ranged equipment. Yes or no? Question mark. 33 people? Yes, of course I'm going to send it to them. Why? Because you're in my server. We live in the cum dungeon. See what the because like I want like that sounds like a good idea. Like that just sounds like a good idea, but it also sounds like a terrible idea. So we got one yes. However, it's by a pervert, so I'm like immediately kind of suspected of it. Okay, that's 2 yeses. Oh, that's 3. Okay, let's just give him a. The consortium has spoken. So we're going to put in attunement, coordination. Let's see, coordination, strength, tactics, toughness. Each of these attributes are ranked from -5, hopelessly terrible, to 10, paragon, which is paragon. Mostly because I like the word paragon. Actually, paragon works. A captain has 10 attributes. Actually, what I should say is a starting captain has 10 attribute points to divide among their attributes. Regular human. Actually, no, we don't want to put that. A starting captain has 10 attributes to find among their attributes. Do I want to actually boost that up? Because if we do 5, let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there's 5. So you have a default of about 2 for each. If we have 2 for each. So if you have 2 for each, so that would make an average of that. We're a little bit above average. We can maybe boost that up to 12 even. I would be okay with boosting that up to 12. Yeah, starting captain has 12 attributes points to find among their attributes, but you're also going to be leveling up relatively quickly, so that's going to kind of go up pretty fast. But you're like a good ways above like a regular human being. Which actually, you know what we're going to do? Because they're here, and I can do this. So, let's see. Rank So let's see, 1, 2. So it's 2, 6, 7, 8. Like a basic bandit's got a 4, 7, 9, 11. But you're also a tier 3 enemy, so you're. And a broken one's got a, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 14. Like you're gonna be tougher than most. So those 5, 7, 11, 14. So yeah, no, you got about 14, but that's like some high level troops, and you're a starting captain. You're gonna hit that. You're gonna be about a tier 5 troop, about 2 levels in minimum. You're gonna be about a tier 5. Most of them gonna be 3, about 7. So yeah, you're pretty far above the regular human being if we're keeping the math. If we keep the math similar, you're going to be above a regular human being, and I am okay with that. Starting captain has 12 attribute points to define among their attributes. If a Paragon, attunement, Paragon. Attunement character's natural connection to we'll do A characters, and we're going to change this from chord to coordination to core. Do we have any other core? No, we don't have any cores. That's what we do here. Ooh, matulala. Dexterity with high coordination. Character with high coordination is quick on their feet and quicker on their with low coordination. 2 less feet, slow in the uptake, and sometimes a bit clumsy. And then we have strength, physical condition, and strength of arms. A characters, intelligence. A characters, pain tolerance. Strength, Physical a character with high strength, physically fit, muscular, crushing blows ease. Because I need to also apply this. Yeah, I think strength works. I think that kind of works. So we've got all these, and what I'm gonna do down here, because every now and again people have said they like these things, so I'm going to put it in. I'm going to put a side note in. Side note. Random captain creation. Random captain attributes. If the group and GM wants to have a bit more chaos in the rolling, have each character roll, have each player roll a 1d10 for each attribute, having them keep whatever is rolled. Having them keep whatever is rolled. However, since this can possibly create a character that is vastly strong, that is horribly strong, consider also putting it horribly strong or terribly weak. Consider putting in the favor and doom. Actually, we want to do in the blessings and doom. The blessings and doom mechanic. Any character that rolls above the average of 10, let's say 10 to 13. So you'll do it would be an average would be about, I would say, 9 to 14. 9 to 13. I think that's fair. 9 to 13. Any character that rolls on the average of 9 rolls above the average 9 to 13. Actually, no, we want to do rolls below the average of 9 to 13. Has a number of, has blessings equal to the difference. So if I were to roll 8 attributes, I would have 1 blessing. Which you're not going to be rolling these. Like, this is going to be incredibly unlucky if you do that. So, like, just for example, I got my D10s here. I'll get some D10s out. Let me see here. Do I have another D10 on here? Absolutely, I do not. I only have 4. So, let's just do a random roll here to make sure that this works. So we have our attunement, coordination, strength, tactics, and toughness. So, attunement. We rolled a 6. Good start. We're a bit above average in that regard. Coordination. We rolled a 4. We're not really that coordinated. Strength. We rolled a 6. Tactics. We rolled a 3. Fuck tactics. And we rolled an 8 for our toughness. We rolled pretty damn good. We're really strong, but we're also going to have to deal with the fact that we rolled over 13. So we got 10, 16, 19, 27. We have a 27 versus our 13. That means we have a difference of 14. Yeah, okay. Have the blessings equal to the difference. Equal to the difference. So if I rolled 8 attributes, I would have 1 blessing. A blessing can be spent during the next level up for a free level up. Pretty much, you're allowed to just increase your power right off the bat. So instead of, you can be not really that good, but instead of being level 1 with level 1 attributes, you're level 3 now right off the bat, and you get a bunch more tactics and a bunch more things to kind of play with. You are just naturally stronger, in skill rather than just straight up, just attribute-wise. Has blessings equal to the difference. A blessing can be spent during this next level 2 for a free level up, increasing the captain's rank in either of their classes. On the other hand, if a character, if a captain rolls over the average, they suffer doom. Doom has to be bought off with XP at a rate of 3 XP to 1 doom. So pretty much, you gotta buy it off. So someone's going to be able to get a bunch more stuff right away. You have higher attributes. In exchange, you have to kind of deal with that. So technically, if I rolled that 14 over, I wouldn't be needing to roll. It would be, let's see, it would be 14 times 3. I'd be having to spend 42 experience points to get it to start leveling up properly again. I'm not getting any more ranks. I'm not getting any more abilities. I'm sticking that because I'm a hulking monster that's awesome. I think a good example of this would be if you are Lu Bu, you're doing this. You're getting this. Lu Bu would have insane attributes. So actually, is there a better? I mean, I guess we could do D8. I think that would work better. I think a D8 would work better because you're gonna have 8 tops. You're not ever gonna hit 10. So, and with an 8, that means you're rolling an average of 3.5. So it'd be 7. I'm trying to it would be 3.5. You'd have 7, 14, 17.5. So you'd only have a little bit of doom, but you'd have higher attributes on average. If you roll on average, you'd have higher attributes. Rolled 8 attributes out of 1 blessing. If Captain rolls over, it's over Doom. May be bought up with an XP rate of 3 XP to 1 Doom. This is a method to slow down the hyper competent, the incredibly naturally skilled versus the talented up and comers. And honestly, if you have roll shit attributes, dump everything in tactics. Dump every single thing you have in tactics. Your highest thing. If you roll an 8 and 1s across the board, put that 8 in tactics. Because you're going to have a good time if you do. Because you can just compensate everything. So, yeah, I think that... Not really like a big idea, but I think it'll be nice for people who want that. We can slap an image right there. I might actually put in a secondary option of like, hey, you want to do these particular things? Cool, do this. Actually, you know what I should do? A side note, a higher tier play. 12 attribute points. The base 12 attribute points have the captain start at a bottom of the best tier among their peers. They are competent and powerful, but they may lack the certain amount of experience needed. If a GM wishes, increase the starting attribute points to reflect the power of the captains, but don't hand out free. They reflect the power of the captains. Pretty much, if you want to play Mushu mode, you want to play Dynasty Warriors, bump it up to like 16 attribute points. Because you are insane at that point. You are incredibly powerful, but the problem is you are incredibly powerful. Your guys are not. So, let's see. So, we want to do standard. We want to do standard, which is going to be 12 attribute points. We want to do strong. Strong but grounded. It's going to be 14 attribute points. Powerful. It's going to be 16 attribute point. Heroic, which is going to be 18 attribute points. Kings of the Field. It's 20. It's kind of some basic ideas. Like, hey, you want to do standard? Go there. If you want to have like, you are really overpowered. You know, pull out your fucking Musu mode every now and again. Yeah, no, just choose that then. Because I feel that's cool. And I like giving people's options, especially when it comes to updates like these. Reduxes, I always like giving people option reduxes. Just more shit to play with. Because more shit to play with is fun. Delicious. Okay, slap an image right there. Captain classes. Maybe add to the classes do clean. Yeah, skills are going to need to get it. Skills I'm not happy with. So, each captain has two classes that they select at captain creation. At their creation. These reflect both their background as well as their abilities on the field. In the field of battle, competent soldier. And let's see. These classes form the basis of the captain strategies, stratagems. Stratagem, is that the correct word for that? Stratagem. Trick of word, okay. Stratagems and technique when fighting their foes. They also represent who the captain is. A knight bishop. A knight bishop is a soldier of the cloth. Is a soldier of the cloth, or a holy man taking up arms, while a knight. What did I end up calling? Yeah, a knight magus is a spellblade on a quest to evaporate and eviscerate their foes. So it kind of reflects, like, I want the idea, like, this reflects who you are. Like, they're fairly important aspects of who you are and how you function. Actually, the classes also grant the captain their initial the initial troopers in their employ. Because if you want to say, I want to play a magus, you're playing a magus, that literally means you are playing not quite Gandalf tier, but you're getting there. Like, you're a pretty strong mage, relatively speaking. You're playing a knight, you're playing a really strong knight. You want to play a magus knight? You're pretty much walking in there with a fireball in one hand and your sword in the other, being like, I am going to kill you and everything you hold dear. If you get close, I will cut your head off. If you get too far away, I will blast your head off because I hate you. But if you want to play like a rogue magus, no, it's a knave magus, you have a completely different set of kind of history and background, and I'm hoping that kind of gives it a little bit more personality in that regard, which is one of the reasons why I'm kind of having to adapt the side note of, like, you don't have to use all these, you don't have to use all these abilities one for one. Why I'm going to have to adapt that to, you can make your own. That's what I want. Because what's a knight bishop going to look like? A knight bishop is most likely going to have something to help his guys in battle. He wants to wade in there, screaming prayers to God as he bashes, an orc's head in with a fucking mace, and then bashes a bandit's head in nearby with a book. Like, he's a horrifying thing to behold. So let's see. Initial troopers in their employ. So skills. Oh yeah, skills need something. So, how do we want to handle skills? Skills were, if I recall correctly, a method to give the captains themselves something a little bit more personal about them. Because captains didn't really have much going for them, like, as individuals. They were mostly a kind of a reflection of their troops. And if we want to kind of give them that a little bit more, we can go with the idea of, kind of like a background system, TTRPG. What's some good ones? What are we looking for? Any more interesting options for, like? Let's check something. Let's go in my folder and let's go on a magic Let's go on a magic adventure with the whole fucking family because we're so cool and we love everybody. That'll be a good one. That'll be a good game for this. Misfortune, maybe? Now, Misfortune is actually kind of a cool game. I haven't really had the chance to cover it at all. It's been kind of its own thing for a while. So I might cover it on like a notepads, book, notepads, folder one of these days. Just because it has a lot of cool ideas. It just doesn't really speak to me personally. Mostly because I do not personally like the way it looks because it hurts my eyes. I would like a plain text version of this more. But I am also a stupid boomer. I'm a boomer, man. So it's traits, because is that kind of like what I'm looking for, like a trait system, maybe? That could work. What would be a good trait system? What would be a good trait system, though? Because pretty much what I want this system to be is to give the captains a bit more personality. Something to let them kind of breathe a little bit more rather than just kind of be a blank slate. Like the second you write up your character, they're done. Like to give them a little bit more like, yeah, here's my background. This is how I operate. This is what I do. This is kind of why I am the way that I am. That'd be a good game for that. I wonder what would be a good trait. Let's see, traits. Traits, TTRPG. I guess we can easily have background system. That didn't sound good. What am I looking for? What am I looking for? What am I looking for? But sometimes the most immediate answer isn't one you're looking for. Google recommends using Chrome. Yeah, I assume you do, Google. I assume you do recommend me using Chrome. No, that's not what I'm looking for. What am I looking for? Because it's always like one of the things I keep running into when it comes to skill systems in general. See, do I actually have any projects I can kind of draw upon possibly? Because it would be more like a background system. You get an advantage as long as you have the backgrounds. You're kind of defining who you are a little bit more and why you are doing the things that you are doing. I guess we can do that. Maybe something like, okay, let's think about it like this. Okay, so instead of skills, we're gonna have something called background. We're just gonna have backgrounds. background, or maybe history. Actually, you know what? That reminds me. I know where to look. Battle Brothers traits. Yeah, because the traits here. Okay. Okay, so actually, you know what we can do? Okay, I know what we're doing. Okay, all right. This is called thinking ahead, kids. And what we're going to do is we're going to do traits. Traits are traits help flesh out the captain, as well as give them personality and physical and characteristics. Characteristics to easily be drawn upon. Easily be drawn upon. These traits can be in theory anything. Backgrounds, history, history, occupations, grand conquest, grand tales, physical features, or even just personalities, personality for others to cling to. Whenever a trait becomes relevant, they will either add or subtract. They will add a D10. They'll add a D10 to their check. Whenever a trait becomes relevant, they'll add a D10 to their check. Actually, if I want to flesh this out more, it would be like, because I can either make this really in depth or I can make this really simple. I'm leaning towards simple, but I might, in another game, I might expand this idea out. But in another game, kind of thing. Whenever a trait becomes relevant, they will add a D10. They'll add a D10 to their check in addition to. They'll add another D10 to their check. If the trait is positive, then they will take the highest D10 as. We'll take the highest D10. If the trait is negative, then they'll take the lowest D10. At captain creation, they will take one trait. They'll take two traits. One positive and one negative. And one positive and one negative. Actually, at captain creation, I know what we can do. At captain creation, the captain will take a positive trait about themselves. And this will do then passing to the right player to the right, passing to the player on their right. They will give them a negative trait. They will give them a negative trait. They'll give them a negative trait. Symbolizing their history together, and what they know of each other, and what they know of each other. The player may take a gamble and ask the player to their left, and may ask the player to their left for another trait. This player will give them a fairly quote neutral trait about them. Something that can actually, well, no, a player will give them a trait of their choice, what good or bad. So how I plan on this system working, how this would work, is, for example, I choose, as, let's say, my knight bishop. I'm going to choose my first trait. What makes me me? My first trait is that I am heavily religious. I am actually. We can just say, I can just say I'm very religious. I'm someone who, I know all the books, I know everything, I interact with people at the church a lot. And they like me and I like them. We're good with each other. I like that, they like me. I've looked at the player to my right and be like, okay, what's my problem? And they say, well, good news, you're very religious. Bad news, you're somewhat of a zealot. You don't really look at things through other people's perspective. You're not part of the right faith, or you aren't fully committed to the faith. You're kind of not good in your book. And you're like, okay, all right, I can understand that. And you're like, okay, look to the left. And you're like, all right, brother, what's something else about me? And they're like, you are incredibly short. And you're like, what do you mean I'm short? You're like 5'4". You have a weird, and it's kind of that idea. You immediately kind of have this idea of like, I'm very religious, I'm kind of zealous, I'm striding into battle really quickly. The problem is, I'm also kind of compensating for the fact that I'm like 5'4". And that could be a good thing. Hell, like, hey, I want to dodge out of the way of something. I want to duck behind cover. Yeah, hell, get an advantage. You're short. Like, hey, I want to sneak by someone. You're short. Do it. Like, oh, hey, I want to, I want to try to crawl under, this hidey hole and get, and get in there. You're short. Go for it. But it can also be some things like, yeah, you're really short. You're not gonna like be able to, climb up some. You're not gonna be able to reach some things. But that's why you have Brutus, the 6'4" monster, following you around. You keep him around because he's completely loyal to you and he can reach things. You immediately have an idea of who this character is. I think this should work in practice. This is a little bit janky, but it should give it. The thing is, this will give players a little bit more investment in each other because you're automatically kind of fucking with each other. That's kind of the joke. It's like you guys know each other really well, and if you notice, like, hey, this guy completely fucked me over with my negative trait. He's looking out to you like, hey, can you give me a trait? And he's like, yeah, I'm going to give you a trait, all right. It's kind of that idea of like, you're kind of messing with each other, but you're also kind of having fun. And you've created this ragtag bunch of people who are all friends. Well, not really friends necessarily, but you're all compatriots. You're all in this together. So let's see. We'll take each other. We'll take a gamble. Actually, I'm gonna put a side note here real fast. Side note. Why? Side note. Why this is the way it is. Actually, what I should say is more control over traits. More control over traits. If the GM wishes, or players dislike the idea of having their character influenced by others, allow them to take one positive and one negative trait about themselves. Take one. The idea behind the system is to flesh out. Is to flesh out the captains. Is flesh out the captains and give them personality. But most of the time we can't control who we are exactly. Who we become. Exactly. Things change in our lives with no things change in our lives or are out of our control. Of our control. Leaving it to the whims of fate to properly give us closure. Leaving it to the whims of fate to whims of fate to guide our paths. Yeah, I kind of wanted that's a little bit of a wax philosophically idea behind it, but the idea is pretty much we can't control everything about ourselves. There are some things in life that we just have zero control over, and I always feel those are some of the most interesting character traits you can actually get in any world, in any sort of fiction. Sometimes those are the most interesting things about us. It's the fact that a character maybe has a height complex. And what does that change about him? But like, for example, even our example character here, our zealous manlet, he's gone his entire life being like this. He has and he embraces it sometimes. People look down on him, but he never allows people to ever truly look down on him. He immediately claims the room anytime he walks in because he's because he has bravado, because he radiates that kind of energy. He wants people to make him beloved because he maybe has some issues with his height. Or maybe he just doesn't care and has been doing it this his entire life and has broken more kneecaps than he would like to admit. It's personality. So, Knight. So, then, the Knight is a shining example of chivalric contention. Okay. In armored warfare. Skilled fighters and leaders of they are skilled fighters and leaders, guiding others to victory. Guiding others to victory as a knight. Your focus is on the battlefield. Able to endure the worst punishment. The worst of punishments. Punishments and guide your soldiers to tomorrow. Guide your troops to tomorrow. The idea is that you are tough. And that's the idea with knights, is that they are probably the best on the field, with the idea that they want to have a lot of, they're usually a heavy armor, like squad against 2 toughness for the round. The majority of troopers must possess a shield. They sort that. They do not have skills anymore. No one has skills. So a warlord is a powerful figure, leading from the front. Warlord skill fighter, specializing in offensive maneuvers and tactics on the field. Okay, starting maneuver. Mag ceaselessly in the arts of magic. So starting maneuver. Starting maneuver. Bolt of energy. ATU 11. Magus squad shoots out a bolt of wild energy at an opposing squad. Magus squad shoots out bolt of wild energy at an opposing squad within ATU units. Do I call them units? Oh, I like it's paid. Let's see. We want. Yeah, they call them units. Cuckoo choo choo. Cuckoo choo choo. So, with ATU units, then the captain. ATU and units. They roll in ATU OC. And if successful, they will deal 1d10 plus squad attunement plus number of casters minus opposing squad's ATU squad casters in squad casters in squad, opposing squad's ATU. If they fail, actually what I should say is, put that in parentheses, if they fail, they deal 1d10 parentheses 1d10 minus opposing squad's ATU. There's a good chance you will do 0 fucking damage, or you can do 10 damage. Like, you're not actually doing that much with this. They have a recharge of 2. Recharge 2. Magus' squad. She set a bolt of wild energy at an opposing squad. Captain's ATU and units. They roll ATU plus OC, so you're gonna have like 6, 4, 5, 6, yeah. Actually, squad's ATU. It's actually bulkier, but it's worded a lot better, I believe, anyway. Lord's charge, cool. Squad, let's say the squad regains 1d10. The bishop calls for prayer on the battlefield. All members of the squad. All members of the squad gain plus 1d6 health. So pretty much, if you do good, you can get a lot of health out of Benediction of the Masses, rather than just like d10 to everyone. Like, you just kind of assign it everywhere. It's just a d6 for everybody, which is kind of insane. unless you want to use it later on when it kind of gets less insane, but it's still like just good. It keeps you alive early on. Calls for prayer on the battlefield. All members of their squad or a squad within AT within the squad's ATU divided by 2 gain so I should do this. Playing the game. Let's see. What do I want to put this? Oh, I know. Yeah, I know what we'll do. We'll move you up here. Insert table. There we go. We'll just do a quick side note. Side note. Fractions. Always round up in regards to fractions. Into fractions, regardless of the amount. Yeah. Oh yeah, always round up in regards to fractions. Fractions or 0.5s. Yep. Say it right here so people don't ask. What needs changing up here? So if you have an ATU of, let's say, 7, you can do it within 4 range. I think that's pretty fair. You kind of want to heal yourself with it. That's kind of like what it's for, is making sure that you don't die and your people don't die. But nothing's saying you can't use it to not get your friends killed. Okay, so Knave. The knave is a trickster. And fiend. What is trickster and fiend? Specializing in abusing and targeting specific soldiers, and using their squad using the squad in a series of dirty tactical maneuvers. Knave's entire thing is that they are moving around and they are punishing you. They're the ones sneaking up behind and they're, stabbing you in the back, or they're, hopping on someone who just needs to die real fast. Like, oh, well, they've got a caster in there protecting them. Yeah, just jump on them and start beating them to death. Let's see, talking to the old world. Squad is composed of a group. What the hell am I doing here? A captain needs daring individuals to follow them into combat and be willing to die by their side. These adventurous Souls are referred to as the captain's squad. The squad works in tandem with their captain. Adding their attributes together. During combat. The combat to form to give the squad its attributes. Actually, with their captain, adding a bonus to their captain's attributes. During the heat of combat. Maximum squads. The maximum squad size allowed is dictated by the captain's tactics score, allowing them to bring additional men into their ranks. Every captain starts with 5 soldiers in their squad. Is allowed to draft their initial squad using starting units available to them. 2 of them two being from their class, as well as the peon unit, as well as the peon trooper, which contributes nothing but can be upgraded into any other class's starting unit. He composes the starting 3 militia and 2 poachers. So starting with the shield wall and volley fire maneuver. So this is Joffrey's squad. This is just Joffrey, and with his squad, he looks like this. So pretty much all the squad is, and I remember going back on this and thinking of this, is all the squad is a reflection of the actual of the captain himself or themselves. Your squad builds you. You want to be stronger, you get better troops. You want to be cooler, you get better troops. You want anything. You want to be just generally a better captain, get people following you, because that is how you're going to act. But you also kind of notice here, Joffrey has 0 attunement because he doesn't give a shit about attunement. He's not magical at all. He's not attuned to it. His squad also has 0. So if you were to get hit by, say, a bolt of energy, he is not really going to be able to resist it. Like, that's one of his big issues, that he's very susceptible to getting completely slammed by soldiers, by magic. You need someone to back him up in that regard. Sometimes it works, sometimes it's going to be a little bit more complicated than that. Oof, okay. Okay, my goal is I'm going to get this done today. This is going to be the last thing I really work on. Alright, so there are no immortals. Except in myth and tall tales. People die. Even heroic captains who feel invincible. Even heroics feel invincible on the field, can succumb to a nasty sword wound. This is where health comes into play. Because yes, you are not immortal. I do not want people to understand. I want people to understand that you are not immortal. Dying sucks. So every captain has a health pool of 10 plus toughness times 5. So that would be, if you have a toughness of average 4, you're going to have about 30 health. That's, we can probably tone that down to like 4 maybe? Nah, actually. $11 HP, 11 HP, 5 HP. 14, 11. Like, you are really tough if you even have, like, if you even have a bit of toughness, you're gonna be, like, pretty damn strong compared to everybody else. But, I guess that's kind of the point. Yeah, you know, I think I'll do that. I think I'll keep it that way. Captain ever to lose toughness, they would immediately lose. Critical state or critical condition? I think I'm going to go with critical condition. Yeah, if a character has 0 HP, they cannot go lower, but are considered to be in critical condition at all time. Actually, captain were to ever lose HP. There's ever a point where a character has 0 HP. They cannot go lower, but are considered to be in the critical we're in the critical condition at all times. Actually has 0 max HP. So that is pretty much if you have a -5 here. Actually, no, it'd be if you have a -2 toughness. By somehow you get a -2 toughness, you would technically have 0 health. That is like your health pool would be 0. You would be technically always in critical, but not dying. When a captain or trooper has reached 0 or less health, they are in critical condition. They need to be carried out of the fight and are unconscious for the rest of the encounter. Characters in this condition is attacked again, they are killed. They are considered to be in critical condition. Actually, critical condition. Actually, I'm gonna put this. I'm gonna put this as I'm gonna put a footnote here. There's ever a point where a character has 0 max HP, considered being critical condition, but still walking around. Any damage is now lethal damage. So, troopers in critical condition do not contribute to the squad's overall ability, and their attributes are taken away from the squad's total. The trooper has their tier to recover in rounds before they bleed to death. The trooper's tier indicates how many rounds they have before they bleed to death. Bleed to death starting when they go down. So if you are tier 2, that's pretty much if you're tier 1, you have until next round to get your ass back up and not die. Because you're a fucking peasant at that point. Like that's where peons come in. If a peon dies, they technically have 0 round. Like if a peon goes down, they're dead. Like you are literally an unarmed peasant. You are falling on the ground and are dead now. Sorry. Dead people don't really need to be paid either. So if a captain falls in combat, troops will attempt to evacuate their captain right away, fleeing the battle to protect them. If they are unable to escape, they will fight to protect their captain. They no longer receive maneuvers or orders. has toughness times 2 rounds to be evacuated or will bleed out. Or actually, we'll say, or will perish. Or perish. Alternatively, if their squad is destroyed, they will die by their side or be captured. The squad ever falls below half their original health, they suffer a morale check, forcing a very hard tactics roll to reorganize. If they fail, the squad does not act for the turn. Next turn, they make a hard 11 tactics roll and so on. The squad is forced to retreat during a morale check. Actually, if a squad is forced to retreat, or willingly chooses to, they are considered routed and do not reform. Pretty much, if you are getting your shit rocked, it might be a good idea just to retreat. You break formation and you run for the goddamn hills. Like, you might lose some people, but it's better than everyone dying kind of thing, which is one of the biggest issues when it comes to fighting. You do not win a battle really by killing the other enemy, killing the enemy. That's not how it goes. You win a fight by making the enemy run the hell away. And this is a kind of a historical thing. The scariest thing in warfare has never been dying. It's the scariest thing in warfare is the fact you're in a war and people don't want to die. And it's standing in a like, even when it comes to like linear warfare, like Eagles and Rifles, for example, when I was working on that, standing in a line firing, you're not really concerned, like as a captain, someone guiding everyone, you're not really concerned about them dying, because you can always get more. You're concerned about them breaking. It's about an entire chunk of men throwing down their guns and running the opposite direction. That's a hole in your line now that someone's going to influence, and people are going to start breaking. When one person begins to break, everyone begins to break. And it's been proven time and time again throughout history, the people who are able to resist and kind of hold their own and kind of hold their morale are the ones that usually come out on top, or at least inflict devastating casualties on the enemy. Like, for example, Greeks and Italians during World War II. The Greeks held out. By no means should they have. But the Italians were stupid, and they didn't estimate the Greeks were going to be able to hold. And they tried to break them, and they didn't break. No different in tactics. Like, the best thing you can do usually is just blitz them down and force them to retreat in a situation where they rout. Sometimes running away is the best thing you can do. So, okay, we've got up to this. The thing is, this may not seem like a lot. Like, oh wow, we just did 15 pages of 96. However, it's a lot of, like, the more we go down here, it's wording, 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 little wording, little wording. Like, we're going to be able to rip through this pretty easily. And when we hit down here, I'm going to be doing like a once-over on a lot of these because I feel pretty confident. This is going to be the only like major thing that's going to get like a big update for it because it just needs it. Like the big things, these I'm going to have to do by myself just in my free time. I'll probably do that like this weekend, probably just wrap these up. The thing is, these aren't really complicated to do. I know how to do it. It's just writing everything in and just doing it. Doing it takes time. But like once we get through that, like it's just a double check through all these to make sure the numbers add up. And once the numbers add up, guess what? I don't got to think about it anymore. Weapons probably won't need that big of a change. Probably the only thing that's going to get like some like decent changes is trooper equipment might get something. Like you might get some additions. like, or even some, you know, things to kind of cut down on it because we just don't need it. Yeah, just these might get cut down a little bit. Like, I probably don't need like thresher frails or like pans. Like, why do I have a pan in here? No, why? Like, I don't need a pan. It's funny, but I don't need it. Especially when you already have a club. Like, what would be another good one that... I want to save a little bit of room as well. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Fit everything all in one page. Slap an image right there. Boom, be out of baby. Yeah, a lot of these are... It's a lot of... There's going to be a little additions, little changes, little numbers going up and down, up and down, up and down. This still remind me, though, I need to do something. Since we changed to coordination, we got to find the word dex. All 109 instances of the word dex. And replace it with core. And we have to put that will replace all 83 renditions of the term dex have now been replaced with the term core for coordination. So, yep, we'll call it there for today. So thank you all for watching. I know this isn't the most exciting stream ever, but you don't come to me for exciting streams. You come to me for, why do you come to me? Just why? That's my question. Why are you here? I write tabletop games. I don't do this for this isn't fun content. It's literally just me talking. Like, usually just to myself, because no one types usually. It's literally just me talking to myself like a schizophrenic. The voices aren't there anymore. Also, I should mention, most likely, if things go how I'm predicting it, probably next week. Probably next week, we're going to be doing the Curious Case of Mecha games. Now, this is going to be a little bit hard because there's a lot of little mech games, but there's also a lot of weird mech games. We're going to go over games like Bliss Stage, because I think Bliss Stage is really fascinating. Like, Bliss Stage is going to get something, Chrome Strike is going to get something. I'm also going to go over some little games like Full Metal President. Like, this game is 19 pages. It's nothing. Or like My Mecha Has Shark Arms, which is 2 pages. Because I kind of want to go over some odd bits in this particular genre that kind of permeates the entire thing. We'll be going over a little bit of Gear Krieg. This is going to be the unfun one, DreamPod 9. But I have a few ideas. Like, mech games are really fascinating because it is extremes. You either get these really crunchy games or you get these really light games. That's why I think Lancer kind of took off as well, in addition to all the other things I said when we went over Lancer, is the fact that, like, mech games are odd because there's a lot of extremes with mech games, but no, like, just... I don't want to say there's no good mech games. I want to say there's no middle of the road mech games. It's either 2 pages or it is a nightmare of simulationism. So, thank you all for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will catch you all tomorrow. Actually, we're going to be doing guide number 2. This Saturday, we will... I'm kind of debating on what I want to do this Saturday. I have a few ideas. Most likely, I'll be streaming